Hi, this is Exhibiting 101. The next tip is about your lead form. You could call it a lead slip, whatever you want to call it. This can be used at your booth. This can also be used if one of your team is calling out, or if somebody calls in the office and you're talking to somebody on the phone. You can use this in all these ways. But we're going to really focus more on using this at a booth at a consumer show. This can work for a trade show, conferences as well, and a lot of them will have their own lead form. They'll have all kinds of digital options. I am going to show you this, and I know some people will say, I want to use a computer for people to sign up, or a notepad, or some other form. I'm going to suggest this, and there's many reasons. This could be a long video. I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can, but this is one of the longest chapters in the book I'm writing, Exhibiting 101, because there's so much to it. I tie it into other things. I'm going to give you an overview. On your lead slip form, you want to have the basic information at the top, and this is the name, the cell, email of the person that is maybe signing up for a giveaway. If you have giveaways, this is a good way to get their information because they're signing up for something they want. If you are a restaurant, you don't want to give flowers as a door prize. You want to focus on having your giveaway fit your business. So if you are a remodeling contractor, it might be a certain dollar amount off of a remodeling project. If you are a wedding planner, it might be a certain dollar off of this package. You may have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 package, no matter what business you are, and I would have that giveaway fit your business and maybe be a certain dollar amount off your middle tier package. When they sign up for your giveaway and they're giving you this information, you're trying to qualify them for your business. So you want a quality lead as much as possible, not just names. So get their name, their cell phone, their email, and then I put best time to call, either AM or PM. If you put that on there and they check one, this is them filling this out, they are giving you permission to call them also. Okay to text. There's so many people now that are okay if you text them, but you're getting their permission. And then 1, 2, and 3 are your top 3 questions. This, again, this can be a long video, but you want to really focus and brainstorm with you and your team about what questions to ask, because the right questions are going to determine whether they're qualified as a lead for your business or not. The number 1 question might be, what's most important to you about, and fill in your category, and why. That is going to be one of the main questions to ask. And then number 2 and 3 could be other questions. Do not make these yes or no questions. These need to be where they're filling out information. And I did write this as big as I could. This is a half sheet of paper. It is not a full-size paper. That would be too overwhelming for somebody to fill out. But if it's maybe this size, it is better because it's not so much. Now, the idea I give people in my workshops is have this as a 2-part NCR form, which means no carbon required. And that way there's 2 copies. You can tear this off. It's usually connected at the top on an NCR form, and then you can give them one of the copies. I think when you have it printed, you can maybe have it printed in a certain color that matches the colors you have with your logo or with your business, or most of the time they're yellow, but have it as a 2-part NCR form. This is one of those subliminals, because when they fill this out, you're not filling this out for them. They're doing it on their own in their handwriting, And that way, when you give them a copy to put in the bag with all this other stuff, it's going to help them remember you out of the mix of all those other companies that are at that show, that they have all this literature, business and cards and everything from all these companies. So this is just one of those simple ways for them to remember you. Have your logo and your information at the top, or even have a sticker with your information on the back of the one that you're going to give them. Those are just some other ideas. But have your top 3 questions, the most important questions that they can answer that will qualify them as a lead for your business. The bottom area can be the rep's initials. Whoever talked to them, have them put their initials, because even when you're talking to somebody in a booth, and maybe you take a selfie if they're okay with it, to send them by text or by email, it's another way for them to remember you. But put the rep's initials, because whoever is following up on this lead, if it is that same person, they might remember talking to them based on some of the information they gave. Email subject line. That is going to come from some of these answers. Let's say, what's most important to you about whatever it is. I had somebody in the wedding industry, they said the most important thing was having grandmas as flower girls. Guess what? That becomes the email subject line. So when they tell you these answers, you pull something out of it that helps connect you and them, and it was something that was important to them. And you could say, you know what, when I email you, I'm going to use that as the email subject line. And then if you have a workshop, I always recommend having some kind of event, whether it's a workshop or a tasting or some experience, 2 weeks after the show, another one 4 weeks after the show. That way they're signing up for it. You may have another form for that, but on this, you're also giving them the date that they signed up for that workshop. And this is going in their bag of stuff. Like I said, it's not just for you to keep. They're going to get a copy. You're going to get a copy. You can give them the original and keep the copy, either way, however it works. But I think that colored copy might be something they see better when they're going through all their stuff that they got after the show. And it's just another way, again, for them to remember you out of the mix of all these companies. This is just a short version of what I talk about in my workshops and what will go in my lengthy books. It'll probably end up being 3 books: pre-show planning, at show, and post-show. But this right here gives you a good idea of starting a conversation, finding out what's important to them and why, and getting a couple more questions answered. This right here starts that relationship. This is not a piece of paper. This is a relationship. This is a connection with somebody that gave you their information, that had an interest in what you do. Whether it's a product you sell or a service, there's so many different services, whether it's home shows or bridal shows or auto shows, travel shows. There are so many different categories, and you want to get as much information from that person that you can. Now, after each show, you may decide, I'm going to change my questions up, and you will do this because you're going to learn something new every show. What to do, what not to do. And as you go along, your questions will probably change. This is not going to be perfect the first time around, and that's okay, because as you figure out what questions to ask, then you can change it accordingly the next time. Don't have 10 questions. Try to have 3. 3 is the best number for all kinds of things. And if you do get a chance to maybe go sit down at the back of the booth because they do have more interest, you might get a 4th or a 5th question answered that was not on here. But this needs to be what they fill out, not you. Again, they will see in their handwriting what they wrote, what information they gave you, and they gave you permission, hopefully, to call them back or to text them. All of this information is so important to get. So many people I've seen over the years, I've been in business 37 years doing this, and they might have a piece of paper with a name, cell phone, email, and that's it. And they don't ask some of these important questions to start that conversation, to get more information, to find out what they really want, what's important to them. That's important to you to know. It's important for them that you're asking this question. It shows you care. You care about what they want and how they want it done, all kinds of things. It might be project timeline that you're looking at. There might could even be budget questions. It may not be best to have a budget question unless that's a real important top 3. That might be number 4 or 5. What do you think your budget is? They don't have a clue because they don't know what it costs. They don't know what you do on the back end and why you charge what you charge. So they have no clue about the budget, but that still might give you a starting point to have a discussion about. So let's just kind of recap. This is a lead slip form to help you start getting the information of what is important to them. And they signed up giving this information from a giveaway that you had, something that fit your business. So those that signed up are interested somehow. Another code you could use at the bottom, and this is not 2 stars or 3 stars. You don't want, I've seen at some of my shows where they might have 4 or 5 people deep waiting to talk to them, and somebody behind this person saw you put 2 stars on that other person and you put a question mark on theirs. You don't want to offend somebody. So you could have a code that is maybe the year. Let's say it's 2025 is the year. The middle number tells you whether it was a cold lead, a medium lead, or a hot lead. And you can put that on there. That way when you get back, you want to work your hot leads first, then the medium, and then the cold. So that's just another thing that you could do to add here at the bottom to help you know who to call first. Because if you just get a bunch of leads and you don't really have a clue as to whether they were quasi-interested or really interested, it matters to know if they're a hot lead. You want to call them first. So have a lead slip, some kind of a lead form that they fill out. Again, not you, not on a computer, not on a notepad, but an NCR 2-part form so that they get a copy, you get a copy, and this helps them remember you out of the mix of all those other companies. There's so much more to this that I tie in to the giveaway, to the brochure, all kinds of things, and we'll try to talk about some of those on another video. I hope this helps. Don't print too many. Print what you think you need for one show, because you're going to change it. You will, and that way you know to print some more later as you change this and make it better and better. And hey, if you have other ideas, share them with us on the comments. And again, there's a lot more I could talk about, but that gives you the main part of what I wanted to share about the lead slip, the lead form. And again, this can be used when somebody's calling into the office, and the person taking the call can also use this information to help get that some kind of an idea of what's most important to them. So this is not just face-to-face at shows, but that's the main reason for this. But use it also when somebody's calling in or you're working other cold leads that you don't have anything like this to go with. Hope that helps. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.